Hello, everybody. It's 2 o'clock, my turn, my segment in the Junk Journal Jamboree event for today. These are the fantastic creatives who are hanging out with us all today, junk journaling and having some fun with this particular kit by Emily. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I just wanted to welcome you all. Thanks for being here. I am using StreamYard to stream, so that allows me to use the 2 cameras, which is so nice. I actually do have my sewing machine right here with me. We are going to do a little sewing. Hey, Carol, welcome, welcome. Good. I can see Carol saying hello right away. So that, kind of makes me feel good to know that everything's working just the way it should. There's Miss Jimmy Lou. Hello, Miss Jimmy Lou. I'm so ready for this and so excited. I have been playing with this kit and with the pages. The graphics, the design is fabulous. So Emily, way to go, friend, on this one. Thank you for sharing it with us so that we could highlight it today. I'm not sure if Cheryl mentioned it. I may have missed it, or maybe she did and I just was getting on, but Emily does have a discount code for you guys. If you want to buy this kit, you can get it for 20% off. All that information is in the description of this video. You'll also find it inside the Junk Journal Jamboree group, which is the best place to go to see all of us in one place. Rather than jumping from business page to business page, go to the group. It's a free group to join. Just get in there and you can watch everybody from in that one place. I'm also sharing it inside the Crafty Chicks group. That is a pretty big group of mine, that is, it's a free group too, but for sure the hub for this is the Junk Journal Jamboree. So go ahead and get in there. Hey, Miss Michelle, I'm so glad you're here. So I printed this out and I wrote everybody's name on it because it's a lot to remember off the cuff. It's a lot to remember. So I'll just point everybody out. This is Jimmy Lou. Jimmy Lou is from Jimmy Lou's Messy Craft Corner. So the Messy Craft Corner, she kind of organizes our event each month. So thank you, Miss Jimmy Lou, for doing that. Now, Cheryl was just on from Mama P's at Crafty Creations, and Cheryl said something during her live that made me giggle so much. I absolutely love your shaker cover, Cheryl. I love it so much. I'm a little bit jelly that I didn't think of that because it's so fabulous. But anyway, she said something about Mama P don't lie. And I was laughing so hard because my son says that to me all the time. He always says, Mama P don't lie. Or he'll say, Mama don't lie, or Mama doesn't play like that. He says that a lot. If he tries to get away with something and I'm like, oh, no. He said, oh, Mama don't play like that. So you made me giggle because it made me think of my son. So Cheryl, great job on yours. This is a little out of order. This was last month's printout, and I just keep it by my desk because I like to remember everybody who's involved with this. And some of these gals are new to me. Now, Shauna's not new to me. Shauna from Fraps and Scraps. She's on after me today. And then we also have Michelle Hill. She's here from the Vintage Daisy. Dina Red, my good friend Dina. So she's going to be here today. We got Cindy Cooper Bates from Beauty to Me by Cindy, and of course Chris Hunter from Creating with Chris Hunter. What a powerhouse of creatives hanging out with us today, creating. So thanks for being here, everybody. There's Sherry. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Lisa and Estella. I see you all. Thanks for being here. Look at this whacked out thing I have in front of me. Let me get that put aside. My desk is really full, you guys, with goodies to share. Here's my table view, so you can see exactly what I got. We are going to turn. I know this looks a hot mess. This looks a hot mess. This is an Amazon envelope. I think it was Amazon. It doesn't really matter. It's a mailing envelope that I got something in. Okay. And I'm going to use this for my cover. Now, this is not a bubble envelope in the fact that it doesn't have the plastic bubbles. I ripped it by accident, so it actually is a good thing because you can see how it's made. It's got all these little pieces of cotton sewn into the bag. So it's not a bubble envelope like you think the plastic bubbles. It's not that, the poppable bubbles. This is like little pieces of fabric embedded inside the envelope that kind of protects whatever's being mailed out. And there's that little foldable flap that's glued down, and I tore it off and it tore open the envelope. Isn't that crazy? But anyway, I know this looks like nothing. I know this looks like a total mess. But as my sister-in-law always says, it's going to look ugly before it looks pretty. It's going to look ugly before it looks pretty. So all I did was I did cut off the top of this because I wanted it a little smaller. And then I just took some gray paint and I covered all the edges because we're going to put something, you know, in the face. This will be the cover. So we're going to cover these sections. I just wanted to put some gray on the edges, and then I felt like the gray wasn't enough. So I also added some distress ink. I just took some distress ink and went around the edges to really make it grungy. We're going grunged up today, girls. Hello, Jay in Florida. How are you? Looks like it was in a fire. I was thinking the same thing, Holly, when I was looking at these edges with the it's funny that you say that because the color is black soot, and soot would be from a fire, right? So you are on top of it today, Miss Holly. You are on top of it. You were thinking the same thing, Grace? Yeah, it looks terrible, doesn't it? But it's going to be pretty. I did take a before picture because it is a little astounding when you see how you can turn junk, literally this is junk, into something pretty. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. It's what gets me so excited when it comes to journaling and junk journaling. Okay, so the sewing machine, we're going to get to that in a second. Here's what I did. Here are some of the printable sheets from this kit. Let me make this bigger again so you can see this. Highlight this. Okay, here are the printable sheets, and I like to do them double-sided and on cardstock. Somebody asked me the other day, when you print your printables, the kits that you buy off Etsy, when you print them, what do you print them on? Well, it depends on how I'm using them. These are going to be main pages inside my book. That's how they're designed, so they can be foldable pages to create a book out of, right? And I like to double side them. You don't have to, but I ran them through the printer with one design, and then I flipped the pages over and ran it through the printer again so that we would have two designs, one on each side. So I've already prepared these pages to go in the book. And you can see some of them have the Harlequin. I really love the striped one. Some of them have the tents on them. And this one, I don't know exactly what that is, but it looks like, I don't know. What do you guys think that is? Like, is it the tent, the top of the tent? That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a really cool graphic either way. But there's a real big variety, and I love that the color scheme is all matching. But here's the thing. When I got these all ready and I put them together as a grouping of pages, for my taste, this is just let me see if I can get, I really do love making eye contact with you guys. I'm going to put my little head here, I hope, in the screen little. Yeah, there we go. My personal preference is to not have so many pages with this much graphic all together. So what most junk journalers will do is, you know, when I'm flipping through this, they're all gorgeous, but it feels a little busy to me. And we will decorate all the pages, but what we normally do is then we go to our craft stash, which I think many of us have many craft papers on hand. So I went to my decorative paper stash and I started grabbing things that are similar that could really match. Like I have this paper. I must have used a chunk of this at some point, but it's double-sided. It's regular weight. But because it's double-sided, I can fold this in half, and that could make additional great pages for this book, right? So that's a good option because it kind of matches. Where are my originals? Where are you, babies? Okay, here's the originals. So what I do is I go through and look for things in my stash that match the theme, color-wise, design-wise. This is corrugated paper that somebody had sent me in Happy Mail. That could make a really cool set of pages for this. Here we have more diamond shape or Harlequin. I don't know technically what you would call it, but this is a one-sided, but that could be really fun in the book. This is yellow, but it has the polka dots all over it. I don't know if you can see that real well, but it has polka dots all over it. In a way, it's double-sided. One side is embossed, the other one isn't. But do you see how they all kind of match? So we're going to use these to make additional pages to insert with the main pages that we got from the kit. These are part of the printable kit. And you saw Cheryl using a lot of the designs, the little, you get tags, you get cards, you get the animals, you get tickets. There is a lot in this kit. You saw her using it a lot, but it's really nice when you can grab some stuff that you had in your own stash and embed it with it. So that's what I'm doing today. So we're going to cut all of these down or tear them down one way or the other to put them in with this to make the book pages. Okay, so that's coming up. I want to sew because this is open, and you could leave it open, you guys. We could leave this open and make it part of the journal to keep that a pocket, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to sew all the way around the edges. I also want to sew this double-sided paper that I'm going to put in the book as it's going to become part of the book. I thought if I fold it, this is a 12 by 12, and I folded it, then I could make myself some little pockets for the book. Now, before I put these in with the other pages and before I sew them into the book, I'm going to actually sew around the edges rather than using glue. I'm going to use stitching around the edges to close this up so that I have a little pocket. So I'm going to sew two things. So I'm going to get the camera over here, and I got to stand up because my machine, I think I can get this, like, look at that. We get right in there. We get it right in there. You love the dots. Aren't they cool? I mean, these go pretty well with the circus theme, right? I got diamonds, I got dots, I got circles, I have corrugated paper. I'm a huge fan of texture. So let's just see. I'm going to turn on this, and we're just going to run this through, and I think I'm only going to run it on the 3 sides, 1, 2, 3, and leave the bottom plain. Let's hope I have enough thread on both sides for this, but let's get this run through. I generally don't even care if I have a super straight stitch. I do like the stitch to be a little goofed up, you know, wonky, as I would call it. My machine has a feature where I can keep the needle down, so I'm going to do that so that when I get to the edge here, it stays in position, the needle stays down, so I can lift up the foot, turn it, so I can get to the other edge of the paper. And I'm really purposefully wigging and wagging it through such technical terms so that it's not straight. I don't want it super straight. I want it wacky. Oh, I forgot I have colored paper or colored thread in here. You guys, I got purple thread in here. That was a surprise. You'll see here in a minute. All right, one more. We're done on that one. So I'm just going to sew two things. I'm going to sew this sheet because I wanted these edges so that my pockets were going to have this closure on the end instead of using glue. I didn't realize I had purple thread in there. It's variegated purple thread, but you see how it's wonky? It's not a complete straight line. I kind of like that rather than making everything so perfect. But this is going to make a really pretty set of pages to go alongside the rest of the book. Okay, so there's one. I also want to sew this, right? So I'm going to go around the edges because I just want to sew this closed. You can glue it. You can totally glue it, but I am going to go with the sewing. Like Cheryl, I really do like having a sewn edge. Oh, come on, work with me, dear. There we go. I like having a sewn edge. So even if I only did that one edge, I'd be happy with it. But normally I go around all 4 edges. If I'm going to go down one, I'm going to go down all 4 so they kind of match. Let's hope I have enough thread, guys. Let's hope we have enough thread. And I hope you don't mind. I mean, I hope you don't mind the noise. Not a lot of people sew during their lives on their pages. So I thought maybe you would be interested in seeing that. You can let me know in the comments if you like seeing the sewing or if you prefer not to. I'm not offended by that. Just give me some feedback. Not caring at all if it's straight. I just need to get it sewed up. These sewn edges will be exposed. They will get exposed. I think I'm going to be done with the sewing. So I'm going to take the sewing machine down off the table because it takes up so much room. But I was hoping that might be interesting to you to see. I mean, I literally just run it through my machine. It's nothing real fancy going on there. Same needle I would use for fabric. It's the same thread I would use for fabric. You obviously can change all that up, but you don't have to. I do have a pretty fancy machine, but I don't quilt anymore. So I just use my quilting embroidery machine for my paper crafting. Oh, good. Someone said it's not that loud. I love watching the sewn edges. Well, good. I'm so glad to hear you say that. The feedback is really helpful. Either way, however you feel about it, just your feedback is helpful. Jenny loves the sound of the sewing machine. I do too. And I just love the look. I love, love, love the look of the threads. And I also love I also love when these threads are sticking out because I love grungy and I love it to be real shabby. So I leave my threads a lot of times until the book is coming together. And then if I feel like I need to pull stuff, like cut it down, I'll cut it down. But I really love to see those loose threads hanging out of a book because I love my book. I always say I love my books chunky. I love them really chunky and whacked out and things hanging out of them. Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear from so many of you. Chris saying that I like to see you sew. Well, good. This is really helpful feedback. Being fairly new to junk journaling, I haven't seen it yet, but the seamstress, as a seamstress first, I'm definitely going to try it. Mary Beth, go for it, friend. Go for it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun when you can. I love mixing textiles in with papers. I love chunky books. I love them thick. I love putting lace and ribbon and fabrics and corrugated papers and cardboard and bubble wrap and just like throw the whole kitchen sink at your book. Like, I know it sounds funny, but I just love the mixed media element of junk journaling. And I really love using up things that would have gotten thrown out otherwise. I do too. Janet says she loves the visual textures. Yay, me too. Me too. Wonderful Whimsicals by Mandy. She says, my mom was a drapery seamstress and the sound usually puts me to sleep because she worked into the night in order to get it done. I love this song. Oh, that makes my heart swoon, Mandy. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty fantastic, pretty special. Leslie says it's really fun to see the whole junk journaling. Yay. Emily Designs. It's your kit, Emily, and we're having so much fun with it. She says, I'm same as you, Grace. I love the texture and I love mixed media. It's my favorite. I think it's something that can evolve too. If you haven't experimented a lot with different textures in your books and you start to do it, just taking cues, copying exactly what you see somebody else do. I think that's a real compliment. If you say, oh, well, Grace sewed around her edges, so I'm going to do the same. Go for it. Like, go for it. Do it. That's the whole reason we come live, is to inspire other people to create regularly, and to do it without feeling worried or held back by anything. Don't be held back by fear or apprehension that I haven't done this before. Just have fun with the whole process and try it. And you may learn that you really actually love it. I hope you do. And if you don't, you just leave the textiles out. I happen to really love it. Okay, so my goal is to come up with enough pages to put inside this cover. I know the cover looks nothing like we want it to, but it'll get there. So right now I'm preparing pages for inside. Okay, these are real busy, so I wanted to come up with some simpler patterns or colors or designs to put in there. Now this one is going to be too deep, like too long this way, so I do have to chop it down a little bit. So what I normally do is I'll take one and use it as my template. Okay, if this is the size. Now, when I printed these out, I'm going to show you something. Here is one of my messed up print jobs. This didn't go right. Oh no, this one's okay. When I printed mine out, every printer is different. I have owned probably 4 or 5 printers, and each one of those printers, even if they're made from the same manufacturer, they have different settings on them in terms of how you can print. And you can actually buy a printer that does edge-to-edge printing. They're more expensive. I don't have that. This is as close to the edge as mine will get. So you can see I have a little white border around it. Most of the time I leave the border, but for this book, I cut the border off because I didn't want that little white border all the way around. So you just have to test your printer and change the settings. You guys, some of my stuff flew on the floor, so I got to grab it. Test your printer, check the settings, test it out, test pages, and see what your printer can do. But I did cut down just a little edging here. But now that I have this is my set size, I'll use this to determine how to cut. Like these all need to be cut to about the same size. Okay, so I'm going to just take a little pencil mark and put it here, and then I'm going to know that's where I'm going to cut that. So when I fold it in half, it's going to fit into my book. I do really like putting the signatures together. This will not go to waste. I'm going to hope to use that somewhere else in the book. Keep things really cohesive. But I'll keep that cutter close because I want to cut down. This one can be just the way it is. I want to cut these other ones down so that they're the right size. And maybe I could do all of these at once. Oh, this one's a little different size. See that? This one here. Yep, sometimes they have that little informational, the name of the designer, the UPC code. So sometimes when it has that, you got to pay attention and get that off first, so that if you're going to cut them all at once, you're cutting, they're all the same size. And I do like Mama P. I was giggling too. Cheryl, she's like, just throw it behind me. Her the stuff that she doesn't want or she's not going to use, she just throws it behind her. I throw it on the floor too. I don't go behind my shoulder, but I do throw it on the floor. So Cheryl, you and I would get along real good if we ever went to a crafting retreat together. We could clean up. It reminds me of Peanuts at, Texas Roadhouse or something. Just throw them on the floor. Kind of adds to the fun of it. Okay, see how technical I am? I make a little pencil mark here. I'm going to make a little pencil mark here, and then I know where to cut them. That's it. I don't measure. I don't use a ruler because it stresses me out. So I choose not to. If you like to be super precise, if you like working with fractions, I say go for it, girl. That ain't me. I prefer to just eyeball things, and I make a little mark, and that's good enough for me. I don't care what the mark number is. I just know I need to cut my pages to about that size. Ooh, these will all make good little pockets and belly bands. So none of this will go to waste. I will reuse, even if the book takes me 8 months to do, I use my bin system and I put all these extra pieces with the book aside when I'm done working for the day. If it's going to take me longer to do the book, I put all those pieces aside and keep them together so that as I'm putting the book together, I have matching pieces to use in my book. Okay. I like to fold each page individually. You will be more accurate in your folding if you do it this way, as opposed to taking all 5 of them and folding them at once. So we're going to take a quick minute here. While I'm doing this, you put it all on the floor too, Leslie? Who else does that? That's a curious conversation, isn't it? It's a kind of a fun conversation to have. And, you're going to learn your own preferences. I don't love a lot of white pages in my book. This is a decorative piece of paper, but this side is white. I really love to choose pages that have color on both sides. They're double-sided. That's my preference, so that I'm not starting with stark white pages. But every once in a while, I get them in there, and that can be a real challenge for me too, to then, decorate them the way I want to. Sometimes I'll use sprays or paints on them or stencils to get some color on there before I start putting all the other embellishments in. Okay, so see what we're getting here? We have some brighter pages to add to our book. And then this one, I almost used that for the cover, but I don't know. I think it would be really fun. It's just going to be really thick. I'm going to hold on to that one for a minute. And do I already have one of these pages in here? It's from the same set. So you can see these match, but they have different colors on them. It's from the same set. That's why. So we can live with that. We can live with that. Okay. I didn't want to have 2 same exact pages in there. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just was thinking, I don't want to have 2 of the same exact ones. I want them all to be a little different. So we have all these pages. You can see this one particular page is shorter. It's a little bit shorter than the others, but it's okay. It'll still get sewn in there just fine. Okay, let's grab all of the pages now and decide. We're going to get to the cover here in a minute. Here's all the pages that I have for this. So this one of my favorite parts is deciding what order to put them in the book. Like I might want to open with that one. And then have the little pocket. I love this part, deciding what goes with what. I like these 2 together. I think the colors are very similar. And I like the big dots next to the tent. Okay. And you can always change your mind. You can move things around. See, like this one, if I opened here, there was a tent on this facing page. And then I don't necessarily want another tent on this facing page. So I'm going to flip this the other way so that I have this. And there's a little more separation between them. So they're not right on top of each other. Let's see. This one. Or maybe the black next to the stripe looks really nice. We have the open to this to yellow. So this has a little bit of yellow in it. So that could go next. There's a tent on this page, which I like. See how it's on the left side versus the right? And we can put this plain yellow. It's getting thick. It's getting thick and chunky. The way it gets thick and chunky the way I like it. Maybe this goes right in the middle. Although, I think I like it better this way. And then open that in the middle. Okay, and that is actually really pretty. It has foil on it. I don't know if you can see the gold little designs are foiled. They're gold foil. These little round designs. Okay, that's pretty good, right? So that when we're flipping through these pages, we have this little pocket here. We have to do something with that. I'll do one little flip through again to see the order and if I like it. And do I want this? This feels really thick as it is, so I don't think I'm going to use that corrugated right here. Maybe I can use it to make a pocket or something, but I think for now, I'm pretty happy with this arrangement as my signature. One big signature inside my book. Okay, paper clip. We're going to hold this all together. Oh, wait, I also have this bag. This is just a cellophane, like not cellophane. It's like a waxy bag that I ordered something. It still even has the thank you sticker on it. I was thinking that could be fun to have in here somewhere. Let's just see quick. It's silver and my book has a lot of gold in it. Could it look good right there? Yeah, maybe. All right, maybe. We're just going to leave it like that for now. We can always change our mind later because I'm not sewing it. It's not permanent until it's sewn into the book. So I'm just going to clip these together, put them aside. I really do. There is something to paper. When you put these signatures together, if you see how it's, you know, you can press this all you want, but it's going to keep popping open because it's paper. You can get that to kind of memorize this flat shape. I don't know how else to say it, but that. If you put it under some heavy books overnight or under something super heavy, this is it's not gonna pop open as easily for you. It's gonna retain its flatter shape more easily. So if it bugs you that your book keeps popping open because your pages are thick, just give it 24 hours and put it under something heavy, and it will really help a lot with that edge to really stay flat. So just note to self. Okay, I'm putting that aside for a few minutes. Let's get to this bad boy. Let's make this ugly thing pretty. Oh yeah, look at that big clip, that big paper clip. Oh, they're awesome. I love those big. And they have the covers on them. They're covered with it's almost like a rubbery plastic, so they're really smooth, but they are metal underneath, so they work really well. I'm glad you like it. That paper is so pretty, isn't it? Someone said it's pretty foil paper. Hi, Dana. Carol says this is her favorite part of the book is organizing the pages. So you guys tell us in the comments. We would love to know. So we probably have visitors from all over the place. I always love hearing where you're from. But right now, since it's just come up, since Carol says she loves organizing the pages too, do you have a favorite part to either watch as a viewer or to put together yourself as a junk journal creator? Do you have a favorite part of the process? Do you like the sewing part the most? Do you like the decorating the pages the most? Do you like choosing the pages for your signature the most? Putting together your cover? What part of junk journaling is your favorite to either watch or do? And let us know, is it watching or doing that you prefer? We would love to know. Hey, Miss Christy. Hi, my friend. Jimmy Lou says the cover. She loves the cover the most. It didn't take you long to say that either, though. So I think when you do this long enough, you do kind of have preferences. Or if you've been watching it long enough, you probably have some preferences of what you even like to watch. We'd love to know in the comments. Tell us. Okay, so what I did was I took some of Emily's pages. Okay, so these printable pages. I took some of them and printed them on cardstock, and then I pre-did this for the sake of time because, you know, time is precious when you're live and you're trying to demonstrate. So I took some of them. They don't need to be double-sided because I'm going to use these to cover these pages. We're going to glue these down, but I did tear them with a tear ruler so that they have this really jagged edge, which I love, the jagged edge. And then I took my black soot distress ink and I went around the edges with the black soot so that we have these really cool panels. Now, I was originally going to put this on the cover, But like Jimmy Lou said, it's so fun to decorate the cover. So I changed my mind. This is not going to go on the front cover. It's going to go on the inside cover, I think, or maybe there, one of these two. And then I'm going to use the plain, the more patterned ones on the other four sides. So I think this one's going to go here. I have a little tiny bit of white poking out right there. I missed with my little distress thing. I think I'm going to put this one here. Doesn't really matter. You know, you can get super picky or you don't have to be about what goes on the front, what goes on the back. But I think I'm going to do a plain page on the front. And actually, I think I like this one. And we just need to glue them down. Nothing fancy pantsy happening here. We're gluing. You could sew them. You could absolutely sew them. I traditionally like to use my glue stick. I have this big, wide, permanent glue stick. It's really wet, like, so it's nice. Doesn't dry out on me, this glue stick ever, which I love. I don't go completely to my edges most of the time because I like things to be chunky and I like them to stick out and pop off the page. So these edges that are all frayed, I want those kind of popping off the page. So I'm going to glue this down, but I'm not going to worry if this is sticking up. That I prefer it that way. Okay, so let's just get them glued down. And this is how this ugly envelope, junk envelope, we're going to make it something purty. Okay. And it's so funny to me that I have purple string hanging out here. I did not remember that I had purple string or thread in my machine, but that's what we got. Some variegated purple. What was I doing before? Does anybody remember? Why did I have purple in there? I don't remember why I had it in there. All right, when I'm eyeballing this stuff, I feel like I need to stand up to get a little more bird's eye view on it and make sure that I'm straight. There we go. Okay, see, already the cover looks better. That's my outside cover, front and back, which you can decorate if you want. And then for the inside, I think I'm going to put this Circus here. Now remember, here's my signature. So it would end up like that. That's kind of cool, right? I like that. And then this would be here. I like it. I like it. I like that bright cream and blue colored paper right away. It's a little stark, and like there's a stark difference between that and the kit. The kit has a lot of creams and red and black. There is some blue in the kit. I think Cheryl mentioned that too. There is a peak of blue on some of these pages. So I love to be able to pull out the color theme from the designer, which is Emily. I love to be able to pull out what they've done. Like if you see a little bit of yellow or a little blue, and then work that into your book, because it really ties everything together well. So I don't know. I'm always torn about what to do live on screen with you guys and what to do on my own. Because I shouldn't say always, generally, we like to do some prep work because you can't get through making the whole book in an hour. So like the tearing of the pages or the measuring them and cutting them down to size, or sometimes like it looked like Cheryl did her sewing before she went live. So the sewing, that's something you might want to get done off screen. And I generally debate with myself off screen while I'm doing my preparation, like, what do they want to see today? What's something that they want to see? So let us know in the comments. It really is. I know that I'm the one speaking. You're only hearing my voice, not anybody else's, but you can read everybody's comments in the comment section. And we really do love to hear from you. I do anyway. What is it that you like? What do you like to see when we're creating? Like, I love putting the pages together. And for me, the selection of the pages and the order that you put them in it gives me a real thrill. But maybe to you, that doesn't mean it's not as important. So I don't know. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, here's my cover. Look at how much better this stinking envelope looks than it did. And this is all thanks to Em. This is all her beautiful designs. You saw it's just an ugly envelope that I slapped some gray paint around the edges because I knew those would be exposed. And then I did the distress ink to add a little more, color to it, make it a little more contrasting. But these printable kits, you guys, grab hers while you can. She's offering you guys a discount. Grab it while you can because it's really fun to play with. Who would think to play with the circus theme? But it kind of brings out the kid inside a little bit. Thanks, Deborah. She says awesome work. Thank you. Aw, thanks. It's all you, Em. It's all you, my friend. You designers make it so easy for us to play and have fun and put this stuff together. Okay, so more playtime. I grabbed this. I loved this. Oh my word. OMG. Like, look at the intensity in his face. I love it. I love it. It looks like chessboard pieces, but it could be like the top of a castle. I don't know. Behind him. He looks so regal that I decided he's got to go on my cover. He has to go on my cover. Okay. So I thought this would be a really nice thing. Now, these graphics, I realized, and I'll just point it out to you. There is a sheet that comes with a lot of these graphics on a full 8.5 by 11 that you can just print out and you get smaller pieces of them. Okay. Or some of them come when you get the kit and you can look at her Etsy listing to see exactly how they're separated. But some of them come so that you can enlarge just that one graphic. And that's what I did here is I enlarged that one, or actually I think I shrunk it down so that it would fit on my cover nicely. So the nice thing about owning the printables is that then you have some control over the size of the things that you can print, and you can print them over and over again if you want to use it more than once, which is really nice, as opposed to buying decorative paper at the hobby store and you buy 2 of them and then you get home and realize, man, I wish I bought 4. But you don't have to worry about that with the printable kit. You just print it out. That's why I'm a huge fan of them. I'm a huge fan of mixing them in with what I already have on hand and then being able to customize it to what I want. Okay, so with this set came, again, a lot of these little cute words that says Circus on it. So I have this one I printed big and this one I have little, but it's the same thing. One's big, one is little. We're going to put the big one here, but see what happens? It has the same background, and so it kind of got lost on there. So I grabbed just some cardstock I had in my paper stash, and I cut a piece down to size, and I put the black soot around it. And I did round, I used one of my corner rounders, and I rounded the edges of this to kind of give this a background to sit on so that it kind of pops off of here a little bit more than if I were just going to put this, since the background is the same. We're pretty darn similar. So this is what I'm going to do here. I do want to ink my edges of, I think I already did it, but I want to do a little more on the lion. So I'm just going to take this and make this a little more bold. The black soot around I want these edges. Now this I just printed off of regular paper. You can do whatever you want. You can print it. You saw Cheryl print some on craft paper, which is like, it looks like a brown paper bag. And the elements look really great on the brown paper bag, or you can print them on white paper. They look great both ways. You just get a little bit of a different effect. So try different things in your printer. Try different papers, try different paper weights, different colors. This is going to be my cover. I'm pretty darn sure that's what I'm going to do for my cover. I don't think I'm going to do anything on the back right away. But let's get this down because I'm pretty darn sure this is what we're doing here. I thought about putting, I thought about fabric, girls. Fabric, and I have black fabric. This was from a project that my kids did. They had to make a pirate ship in one of their high school classes a couple of years ago. They both had to do it. One, Landon is a senior this year and Gannon is a junior. And I think this was when they were freshmen in high school for one of their classes. They had to do a pirate ship. It was a team effort to make this pirate ship. They were studying pirates at sea or something in one of their classes. But I have all this black cotton fabric, and that could be, before I glue this down, this could be something that we layer because, I like it thick and chunky. We could layer it, but I also have, you guys remember this stuff from the Dollar Tree? This black netting that they sell at Halloween time? This could be really cool too. And what I usually do is just cut a chunk and then play with it and see, is this something I want to put on here? Like this could be really cool back here. Let's just see. Now I just play and see how it just adds another element of dimension and interest. I started to glue him down and then I stopped because I was thinking, yeah, maybe we got to get some bits of textiles back here. It's just gonna stick out a little bit. It reminds me of the netting that the high trapeze artists would fall into if they fell at the, that always fascinated me when I went to the, yes, this has got to go back here. I don't know why. I like it. So I'm gonna put it back there. Now, gluing that down, I could use this, but this, there's so much thickness to this, to the netting that I think I need to use my matte gel medium. Let me grab it. Let me grab it. I think I need to use some matte gel because it will go through the netting and hold it down. It will also hold down the papers. I'm going to use this. Matte gel, it helps a lot. We're just going to slather it on there. It will dry completely clear. Okay, so no worries about that. But you see how thick I put it on there because I want it to go right through this fabric. And I'm going to put it, I could just put it around the edges, but I don't want to be that fussy. I'm going to push this fabric into that. I want it chunky. I want it hanging off the edges, but I also want to make sure it stays down. So I'm going to push that fabric right into that matte gel, and then we can put this on top of there, but not without some matte gel on it first. I think there was something red on my palette knife because I got some pink coming off on my on my glue on the back of my card. Oh, I love this like element of chunkiness. All right, I need to make sure I leave enough room for my lion to be right above there. And this will dry completely clear and it will hold it on like a champion, so we don't have to worry about it falling off. This, I don't need the matte gel. It's just paper on paper. So I can go back to my, whenever I'm gluing down embellishments that are fabric, especially thick fabric or metal, that matte gel medium is going to do the trick for you. Okay, it's your friend when it comes to mixed media and gluing things down, because you can get it right. You saw how thick it is. You can get it right in that material. It takes a little while to dry, but it will dry completely clear and it has no sheen to it. It's not glossy, so we don't have to worry about it leaving a sheen where the glue was. Okay, I do like my edges to pop a little, so I think I'm just going to leave that alone to dry. Let me find a paper towel for my fingers. And then I'll have this 3D element to the front cover, which I think is fabulous. And then maybe we can work in some of that netting or that black material somewhere else in the book too, on a tag or something. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Look at that. I love this texture just hanging off my book there. Oh, I'm so glad you love it. Oh, Jimmy Lou's loving it. Jimmy Lou, you're really good at using textiles too. I love watching you too, because I get as inspired, you know, every time you watch somebody do something, if it's similar to something you would have done, sometimes it just has a little bit of a twist like, oh, but I wouldn't have thought of that. And that's where it spurs more ideas. And that's why these events are so fun. They're really just so fun. Okay, if you're worried about this not sticking well, like we want to make sure it's sticking well enough to actually stay glued, you can use your clips. Just use some clips on there to hold it down. Okay, like especially the edges if you're worried about them. I like my edges kind of puffing up though. Okay, we're going to leave this for a second. I'm going to go back to my pages and let's get ready to sew these into the book. I think we'll have time to sew these into the book. So the one thing I always check is I usually do a 3-hole, and this is a good size for a 3-hole, but I do want to check to make sure anything that's shorter, like this is shorter than all the other pages, you have to make a decision. It needs to have at least 2 holes in it to hold it into place. If it only has 1 sewn hole, sewn stitch, it's going to wobble all over the place. So it needs to be positioned well enough so that it has 2 holes. And I know I'll have 1 dead center, and then I usually go an inch up from the top and bottom. So I usually pull mine down low, but you could put them up high. You just want to make sure that you have at least 2 of your holes when you stitch going through the shorter pages. Now this one isn't quite as short, so I think this will get 3 holes in it. So it isn't good enough to do this, because when you do that, all of your pages are going to drop all the way to the bottom. You may not want it all the way on the bottom, so make sure you adjust them the way you want them, and then like don't really do that, because it's gonna mess up the positioning. Get them where you want them, and then clip them so that we can create our holes. Now, I just did the in July, I just had the Make a Junk Journal Start to Finish workshop, where I taught you how to make your cover out of a cereal box or a cracker box, and then to put your signatures together and how to sew them in. And in that, I showed you how to create a template, which can be really helpful, particularly if you're putting more than one signature in your book. What the template does is it makes sure that all of your holes align, so that when you're looking at your book, especially if you have an exposed spine, this is the book that we made in that workshop, so that all of your holes are aligned. So we have 2 signatures in here, and we want to make sure that the holes are aligned so it looks neat and organized, you know, not wonky. I mean, we don't want it too wonky. Plus, you want your pages to all be aligned in the book in the same place. Now, this book is only going to have 1 signature, so I don't have to worry about a template necessarily, but sometimes if you're new, it may help you to have a template. You may feel more confident using a template, right? Instead of just eyeballing it. I know it goes by so fast. Emily says, I can't believe how fast the time goes. It goes by so fast. That's why we have to do our prep work, right? I'm an eyeballer, girls. I'm an eyeballer. I don't know how tall this is, but like you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm counting the blocks on the table. This is 8 1/4 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be about center. I usually just eyeball it. And I'm going to poke this hole using my awl through all of the pages. See that? You can control how big that hole is by how much of the awl you put through, because it's tapered. It's skinny down here and it gets wider up here. And I like skinny holes. I don't like big holes. I like skinny holes, and I cannot lie, because I don't want my pages wiggling around. I just randomly break out in song, you guys. I can't be the only one, am I? Jimmy Lou does it all the time too. I love watching Jimmy Lou because she breaks out in song all the time. Okay, I like skinny holes. I start out skinny, and then if I have to make them bigger, I make them bigger later. If I need more space for my rope, but I don't, that one was a mistake. I don't generally, my hand slipped. I don't generally like really big holes because I don't want my pages moving around too much. Okay, now that that's done, I think this is going to be super cute. It's going to be super cute. All right, now, once you have it positioned where you want it, this is where more clips come in hand. You want to have a bunch of these on hand. Doesn't matter what kind, but we want to make sure that it's equally distant. We want to make sure that we get the holes right. I already have the holes done in my signature, so now I just have to follow along to poke it through my book so that we can sew it together. And that should be a lot easier because the real thickness is coming from the pages, not from the cover. There, that was so easy to do. Now that these are all together, we can do some sewing. I was going to use, I pulled out some baker's twine because I was thinking baker's twine would match really well, but I think it's the red is too red. Also, rope would work really well with this. This is my trusty friend that I always use, which is the wax thread. So maybe we'll just stick with that. Hello, Miss Kimberly. I'm so glad you're here. Haven't seen you in a while. Jay says, Jay Adams, she says, I'm learning so much. Oh, good. I think if you continuously watch a variety of creatives, you'll probably learn that although we all come to the same results in the end or similar results, we may get there using different methods. And there's nothing wrong with that. Once you have the basic knowledge of how to create the basic book, you can play around with your methods and you can start getting more creative with your methods. I've lost my hole here. I can't find the hole like from my book to the cover. So I want to reestablish. There it is. I reestablish it. Now I need this to go from the back. Just doing that reestablish really helps me find where my hole needs to be. So taking the awl, which is thicker and heavier, making sure I can get through all of them. They're already all there. The holes are there. It's just where you're moving it around, it gets kind of, there's some separation, there's some space. The clips help, but they don't always work perfectly to keep everything nice and tight. All right, now I have to go back through that hole in the middle. When I stop talking, it's like I can't talk and think at the same time. I can't talk and like figure this out at the same time. Okay, I'm having trouble finding this hole too. So I'm going to unclip this side so I can do this. And then I can see where my needle is going. Okay, I see that it made it through there. Okay, here we go. Now I can see. All right. I want to make sure this is nice and tight. There's no bubbles or like extra material, extra thread hanging out. And then you want to make sure that there's two threads that we're tying. You want to make sure one is on one side of this center line, one is on the other side of that center line. That's what's going to hold that center line in place. I knot it twice. And then I usually do a little bow because I just think it's cute. Oh, Gannon, my son Gannon is here. Hey, Gan man. He's probably checking to see when I'm done. I told him I could hang out a little bit after my live. I got 9 minutes left, Gannon. You guys check it out. Okay, this is the cover to this fabulous little book. I just love, love, love all the extra textile. See how it wants to pop open? This is where I was saying to you, if this bugs you, this pop openness of it, put it under something super heavy overnight or maybe even 2 nights. And I promise you, when you take it off, it's going to remain more flat. The pages will remember to stay flat. Do not do that. I would not do that until you make sure that, I remember I used this matte gel underneath here. I have a little bit of it sticking out there. Okay, do not put this under anything heavy or close your book. If you have glues that are wet, you really should leave time for your wet glue to dry before you go on to the next step. Now you see us do it all at once because it's a crunch for time and we're trying to demonstrate for you. But I like to try to point out that if you have more time than we have, just an hour, maybe get this gluing done and leave your cover. Don't even play with it. Don't monkey with it. Just let your cover sit for a few hours and let that completely dry before you go into sewing your signatures. Let it take its time and do the drying that it needs to, your glues, so everything stays in place and you're not messing with, you know, your glue job or things aren't sticking to each other accidentally because we moved too quickly along, which can happen. Okay, look, we got a little pocket here. So if I'm just about to wrap up on a project, like, so our time is just about up. I have like 7 minutes left. But like I said to you, all of the elements that I used in this book, I want to keep them close by. I keep all of this stuff together. Sometimes what I'll do if I have just like little sheets left, I'll stick them in the pockets because I could use those at some point when I'm decorating the pages. Same thing with all of these fantastic little elements, these little cutouts that came with the kit. I absolutely love the horses. And I actually used for my horses, I used my 1.5 inch punch to get those punched out. You could stick all of these in your little pocket when you have a pocket so that when you're decorating, you start pulling these out and using them in your book. But let's just do a quick flip through. I've got the base of the book together. And this is usually what happens for me when I go live, particularly if I have about an hour. I'll get the base of the book done, but you may not see a whole lot of decorating. I noticed that Cheryl did a lot of that, the base work off camera so that she was showing you how to decorate the pages a lot. If you follow my page and you stay tuned on my page, what I like to do once I've done one book in public like this is then I'll carry through and do some of the decorating in subsequent lives over the next week or two so you can see the book come together further. Okay, so let's just do a quick flip through and see what the book looks like now. We have that little pocket there that I love these 2 pages together. I have had this paper, this polka dot paper. I bought it when my kids were like 2 to do a scrapbook for them. They're 18 and they're 16. So this paper is like 12, 14 years old. I've had it forever and I just never found a use for it. Obviously, I didn't do their scrapbooks. So I love how it matches there. And I know what that paper was intended for. So it kind of gives me a little happiness to see it in this book. So I really love a variety of textures. You see, we have small textured elements and then bigger textured elements or design elements on these pages. I like the combination of both. Oh, we've got our little bag here, which has a crinkly sound to it. Love. I'm all about the crinkle and the feel and the sound. I'm all about chunkiness. Those go really well together. You love that paper, Kim? All right. So, and then when we're right in the middle now. So as we start flipping, you're having just the opposite, right? So every page matches, mimics. It's just the opposite side. Okay. But on the inside cover, I did put that, which I'm happy about that. I like the way that turned out. I'm leaving that plain for now. And here, this is plain. So remember I had this corrugated. I was kind of thinking maybe I could do a belly band or something in this front to have another pocket or a tuck spot. So I have all of these papers left that I can choose from to use to decorate this. So I will keep this with the set. I will keep all of Emily's design elements with this set. So like that ticket, I thought that could make a great little pocket, maybe for the front. Actually, that was one. So see how I've already cut out a lot of the design elements from this kit. So go check out the kit on Etsy. We gave you guys the link. Let me see if I can grab it. Oh, you have a manila folder with polka dots, Sherry. That could be fun to use. I'm going to grab the link to the Etsy store listing so that you guys have it. And I'm going to put it in the comments, but it's also in the description of our videos of everybody you should be watching today. It should be in the description of those videos. It also will be floating around in the Junk Journal Jamboree group. So don't miss out on that. I did update my Junk Journal listing here. Hold on, girls. Junk Journal Jamboree. Where are you? And if you guys have any questions, I'll take them now. We got a few minutes left while I'm grabbing this link for you, which I'm happy to do. Oh, Facebook makes me leave my business profile and go into my personal profile to grab what I'm looking for, which is really can make things a little challenging. It's just one extra step. It's not the end of the world. Just an extra step. Oh, I got it. I got her Etsy listing. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in the comments. Yes, there it is. But if you go to the description of our videos and in that Junk Journal Jamboree group, I'm going to also give you the link or the actual discount code in the comments. So you can get it from there. But if it's after the live and you're like scrolling through the comments and you can't find it, check the description of the videos or check the Junk Journal Jamboree group for that information. Okay, there, it's all in the comments now. Thank you, Donna. Donna says, great job as usual. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys and your company here. I appreciate Em for sharing her beautiful design, this circus design, which I do think is super fun. I may add some sparkle here, girls. I'm like looking at this and thinking it may need some diamond dust or something to give it some extra pizzazz. I'm not sure. But I cannot wait to see what all the other girls come up with. You still have a full day of creativity coming at you with this same kit, which can be an absolute ball. It can be such a blast to see how every single creator takes one kit, the same exact kit, and our designs are all so different, all inspired by one designer, Miss Emily. We thank you for sharing. We appreciate you so much giving us this inspiration for our projects today. Shauna from Fraps and Scraps is up next, and you could go right into that Junk Journal Jamboree group to see her and everybody else following her after that today. If you're not following my page, I'd be honored if you did. I would love to hang out with you more often. I post my weekly schedule so you know when I'm going live. I also have a Telegram channel where I announce that. So be sure to get on that if you'd like to. You guys have a blessed, beautiful day. Go make something pretty that brings your heart joy. I'll catch you.